And the maximum number of legal aids can be observed unlimited. Legal aid can still gain experience being part of the team during pre-trial to gain experience. If it goes over the ratio, then there must be an observation-only mode during the trial.
Does that apply to I know it's state's court law, but I assume that does not apply if, let's say, they want representation while doing an interrogation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with it personally. I think it's more for court cases. Those lawyers have to excuse themselves anyways if it goes to bench or a trial.
Yeah.
I actually have a question regarding lawyers being requested. So the other day we had a situation where somebody requested an attorney. They got one, right? The one provided by the state, and then they wanted another one. What we do then?
Are they dismissing one and getting another one? Or are they just adding on? Are they adding more?
Well, they kind of did both. The first they said that they wanted both, and then when I was like, well, you've already been provided one. I think the state has met its obligation there.
Yes, one was provided by the state. If they have somebody else on a retainer, they want them down there as well, that's fine. As long as there's, paperwork showing that, right? If they paid for somebody to be an attorney and they show up, or they want to call them instead, I think there's no issue with that. Bones,
now, doesn't that mean...
Chips?
If they're willing to pay for an attorney, doesn't that mean they can afford
I tried
one?
to warn him to stop.
No, I'm saying if they have somebody on retainer already, right? Right.
Yeah, right. But if someone has one on retainer, doesn't that imply that they can afford one? Right? You know, if we read people their rights.
Correct. I mean, you still can have one for free of charge from the state, if available, of course.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you could definitely just make it base only one. As long as they have legal representation, they can't complain.
Oh.
Okay.
I need to leave. I need to leave.
Okay. Somebody needs to cuff his ass.
I'm gonna go for a lap.
Thank God you're not holding a gun. Holy shit.
Take a seat.
You don't. Okay. You don't.
Ever since you got 50 words per minute, you think you're hot shit, Bones.
Thanks. I tried to tell him not to. He's like, I want to punch Dakota. He's down there.
All right. Well, we're gonna get started here pretty quick. It is a shift 3 meeting. However, it's good to see a lot of folks because we made an announcement 2 days ago regarding an AMA, Ask Me Anything, as they call it. The reason behind it is because we wanted to give an opportunity on the floor for officers to be able to discuss and provide feedback through the chain of command while having active members of chain of command present. Now, as you all know, there's been, new folks coming through halls of Mission PD, people talking to y'all, asking a lot of questions. There's been audit, people going through our filing cabinets, grading our SOPs, looking through things. And, we welcome that because at the end of the day, we want to get better. Myself and the other captains and Aldo, who's acting in the place of Captain Ruth, do want what is best for the police department. So if there's anything that we can do to work together to build a police department that is built on good principles and values, we will go for that goal every single time. And try to come with good questions, speak your mind as far as these questions, but also be respectful. Shit talking to other people who are now around to defend themselves does not solve the problem. If you have an issue, a problem, and you are bringing it up, try to be bringing it up in a very respectful way so we can be very subjective to the problem and try to fix it instead of, talking in circles and not getting anything done. That is the objective of this discussion. That's what we're trying to do so we can all be on the same page and our communication can be more effective as a PD.
Wait, is this now?
Correct. Well, after the meeting.
Okay. How would it occur? Would it be right here in this room with everybody?
Probably here. Whoever wants to stick around. We'll go over some of the things that we talk about as far as police work, and then we'll hold the floor for this. Ask Me Anything. We'll have the seniors and the captains answer any questions, and we'll have it here.
10-4.
So, shift 2 debrief. We had the mayor celebration slash wedding resort reception taking place today. Unfortunately, there was an attack on the First Lady, Mrs. Thoroughbred. And I do see her back there. Is that you, Mrs.? Is that her back there?
It is. Thank you to all of you for coming, and thank you for protecting me. You're amazing. You're all heroes, and I just wanted to thank each and every one of you personally.
Well, thank you. Could have done a better job. You still got hurt. I'm sorry about that, and
Yeah,
hope you
but
get
I
well
wasn't
soon.
kidnapped, so thank you. That's
Oh.
thanks to you, lads and lasses.
Happy to help. We had folks undercover and nearby as well, in plain clothes, ready to pounce if something needed. We had officers ready, and we made sure that we were prepared because just in case something happens, we know this is Los Santos. It is full of folks that sometimes do unreasonable and illogical things, and it tends to lead to violence. So we have to always be ready for something like that. However, there was something that happened that is concerning, and it's an ongoing investigation where Judge Jackson and Dr. Cantor are both shot on their way home, leaving the wedding reception, driving southbound on Gresham Highway. We had Officer Fenwell as guard to try to provide him backup. However, there was somebody that had a traffic collision with him, and then shortly afterwards, they're both gunned down, and the gunman escaped. It's like I said, it's an ongoing investigation. I'm not going too much in detail because you know, it's a bit sensitive, but not good. But we have leads on this, and we're going to keep pursuing them to make sure that these people are behind this do face the wrath of justice. Any other announcements regarding PD stuff? Anything y'all want to talk about before we begin our AMA?
We got 3 guns off the streets in shift 2.
Say that again, McNulty.
We got 3 firearms off of the streets, one being a PD firearm during shift 2.
Nice.
Good
Very
fucking
nice.
shit.
Is it mine?
Well, no,
No,
it was
it's
the one
Bones.
What?
that. Oh, I thought it was mine.
No. It was the firearm used to shoot you in the face.
Oh,
But it was Bones'
I see.
firearm.
Okay.
Good work. Very well done.
Guys.
Yeah?
Yes?
I'm sorry.
What are you sorry
Or-
for?
Would you point to somebody else?
Did you?
You shoot me?
Did
I
you shoot?
should. My gun did.
What report did
my
you?
gun shot you.
Wait,
So I-
Oh.
Did the gun just fall out of your pocket, Bones?
Well, let me ask you something, Bones. Do guns kill people or people kill people?
with
Whoa!
guns.
Let's not get political.
Well,
I
let's
can
talk
answer
about
this.
impact.
Let's. You know.
I think guns should be banned.
I think
Hey,
we should
McNulty.
we should just capitalize the fact that 3 guns were taken off the street. And
Yeah,
done to shit.
that's right.
Good work. Good work.
Yeah.
The
Very
more
good work.
guns off the
Good
streets, the
work.
better. Okay.
McNulty,
Well
I
done.
can
Job.
talk to you about it after. Did any of those guns come back to that strand of robberies that occurred recently?
Negative.
Okay. Good shit.
This gun, molten fucking hot. Let me tell you. However,
What about Molten?
pretty much out of statute of limitations.
Good police work like that should not go unrecognized. And this is something we're working on with the public information officer that we're proposing that be something linked to the PD liaison, to where whenever good police work is happening, the public should know about it. There's plenty of times when the public does not know about the good police work we're doing, and they only hear about the bad news. And as a result, they associate the PD with bad stuff, and they're not really hearing about the good stuff that's happening out there. You know, there's plenty of good battling evil that happens within this police department, and I feel like a lot of these wonderful, ladies and gentlemen within the LSPD do should receive recognition for their hard police work to protect and serve, to be the shield, to remove anything that is dangerous off the streets. And we're working on that because I want you out there to be, a role model, a star for other people to be inspired by, to respect and
Ross,
understand
thank you for
exactly
the
what
41
they're
months.
doing.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Cap. I agree.
And feeding the elephants.
Other than that, I have nothing else to bring up unless y'all want to bring up something.
We do have an announcement for ISO.
Oh yeah, tell them. Go ahead.
The results are in. Y'all voted. New standard for date, year, month, day. Is that right? Year, month, day?
Your month day.
Year, month, day is a new standard that we're going to be using. ISO got approved to 38 to 36. So that is the new standard we're going to use for dates when it comes to the LSPD. If you're dating something on a report, it needs to be done through ISO. You can find more information on that under report 2116. That's how to properly use ISO.
I thought I was voting for a satellite that was getting shot into space.
No.
Wait,
Did
what?
you read,
Really?
Did you read the report tied
That's
to it?
Starlink, not ISO.
Infrared space telescope. Thought we were like getting a
It's
satellite to like
IST?
observe.
No,
No,
it's ISO.
ISO. Yeah.
EST.
Colin, what, you have a
ESA?
question?
Whoa. Yeah. Why did we do the vote this way? This is like the most confusing way I've ever seen a vote done.
I really think it needs to be revoted on.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
I think having it as an announcement where people typically read, and also if you're going up the list from the bottom, let's say you're behind, like I was, and you're going through and you see it and you're like, what the hell is this shit? And then you hit, okay, I read this, and you clicked it. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh damn, okay, I already voted yes on yay. So you're kind of set up. It's like predetermined for that to win. It's kind of like what is it on Twitter? They got likes and oh, like if you like this, retweet if you want to. You know what I mean? Obviously,
we
they
recommended to the
rigged
IT guy reactions, like 2 reactions, like a yes or no reaction. Something like that to where we can be noted. It's something we're working on for sure. We've wanted that since day one to help separate the two. Because I do agree with you, but we're trying to work with the system we have right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is, you might as well just hey, write your name on here, and I mean, people ain't gonna delete people's names, right? I mean, there's a log. If you're deleting people's names, it's a DAP, right? And it's a MDT infraction.
Not everyone has the ability to edit announcements.
Well, it's just a report, right?
No, it's an announcement.
Hear me
You
out.
can tie a report to it though.
What if we use our other channel of communication where announcements get put out, where we can put a reaction, at least until something on the MDT is resolved.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't think that the current count
that'd be great.
is accurate because of the way announcements are at the moment.
So you guys are saying recount. That's what you're saying right now. You're saying
recount.
Recount.
The capital.
I want a third option.
What's the third option?
The better option.
Like writing too far, and then like the first 3 letters, like Feb.
Day, month, year.
God.
Question mark.
Okay, no.
I mean, that
day, month, year, but so it's less confusing for the Americans. It's day and then Feb, like the start.
Well, why do we even have to type all that shit?
You just put yesterday. A Z anywhere.
Can we not just say yesterday or 2 days ago?
No, that's terrible, because in a year from now, when I'm looking back, yesterday means something completely different.
Well, no, you just change it every day.
You just got done telling me that the votes on these two things would be not the same because you read one first.
All right, fine.
No, you are not putting in that effort.
We'll do a revote through the email chain so you can react appropriately.
Some cadets can't vote.
Sorry?
It said
You don't have
some
tags?
cadets can't. No.
Okay, I'll double check as well. Make sure you got proper tags.
Okay.
Right.
It does auto-populate mud. And you can do
democracy
it in the
works. Look at
format
that.
of your choosing.
We'll do it a week as well.
Incident.
Democracy manifested.
See this?
Yeah.
3/1/24. Click 24/3/1. 2 hours ago.
You
Friday,
start doing mail-in votes.
1.
Donald Bush, the 23rd,
I don't trust robots for my vote, brother.
Well, that's the problem with voting through the email chain. Somebody else could, come in there and vote on somebody else's behalf without them knowing.
Yeah, email's always been a problem.
Sleepy Joe's trying to get me to
Wait,
vote for
how?
ISO.
How would that be an issue?
If they're able to access your email chain.
Oh.
Thank God McNulty said it.
Oh. Well, I know which I'm picking.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
All right. We'll put it up. We'll get a vote up again. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to announce before we get into the questions? Nothing else. Okay. If I get all seniors up here, then the way I foresee this happening, essentially, is we're going to present. Frankly, we have one question that was sent in on that document. Only one question was sent in. We're going to address that question, then we'll open the floor to any questions that anybody has. I don't mind if any seniors, captains, anyone up here responds to it. Anyone can speak up and speak for it. So the first question that was sent in anonymously was, when will Shift 1 officers stop trying to put down / find any excuse to reprimand Shift 3 officers during Shift 3?
Ooh. Right into it, huh? Okay.
Straight into it.
Oh, shit.
Right.
Hey, I didn't ask that question, but I will double down on that shit. I see that shit every day.
And how do you see this? What was going
I
on?
see it because I get on duty and I have like 3-4 people tell me some shit that happened during shift 1 every day. I'm like, holy shit, I got to get out on patrol. But I listen to you because you know we're family here and you need to be heard. But I'll put my name on that shit.
Here's the kicker about this question though. It says in shift 3.
Yeah, so it's overnight while I'm asleep is what I'm saying. So it'll be overnight. Shift 3 transitions into shift 1, and then in shift there's a major culture shock that hits between 1 and 2 and 3.
That is taking place in shift 3 though.
Yes.
Oh shit. Okay.
That's what it's stating.
Yeah.
Can somebody elaborate more on that? What is going on exactly?
So here's what I want to put out there before we ask anybody who potentially wrote this to step up is it shouldn't be happening. First of all, second of all, we want to address this. We need to address this. If you're not comfortable speaking about it here, if the person who wrote this is here, bring it to a senior, bring it to a captain. This needs to be addressed. It should be addressed. I'm okay with talking about this here. I'm okay with talking about this after in private. Just it needs to be brought up, and it should not be happening.
Well, I think the best way for that to make sense and operate is I usually wake up at basically like shift 1 storm, right? And then I have about 4 hours before my shift actually starts. If people come to me with problems outside of my shift, I direct them to a shift 1 senior. If there's no seniors around, I'll take it and then do my due diligence, report it, and then slap it onto a shift 1 senior. Because every shift has different kind of shift 2 is very different to 3, 3 is different to 1, 2 is different to 1. Seniors approach things differently. I think the best way to approach that is have seniors and the command of that deal with that problem. Because this will happen where it's like nobody wants someone outside of their warehouse to come in and be like, wrong, you're in trouble, you're wrong. Nobody wants that. Yeah, nobody wants that. It's personally, it would annoy the shit out of me. Because I deal with my wheelhouse. I can't really affect shift 1. I can't affect shift 3, but I can control, work, and operate 2. The way I see it.
Is there an example we can use or something like that? And like, ask me anything. Like, is there anything that topic or that question that was being brought up, that, and you know, is there anything else we could talk about it that we can discuss now, so we can be able to figure it out?
I'm gonna be real. Whoever submitted that clearly wants to be anonymous.
Right, and that's why I'm not gonna.
But I'm saying,
like, push it
bitch, if it was me, my name would be plastered on there. What?
Hang on here. I understand it's intended to be anonymous, but we also do need to address it. It's a problem that we want to fix. So that's why I'm saying if it doesn't need to be or doesn't want to be brought up, whoever put it in, brought up here in front of everyone, completely okay with being approached after the meeting and talked to about specifically.
I can second that as well if anybody wants to come talk to me.
So this isn't about this particular subject, but should there be something going forward where people can have a back and forth anonymously? Some kind of system put in place for that?
I mean, that is kind of the goal with his, feedback, right? Is you could provide it through anonymously, or you could place your name on it, right? I think we're trying to open the floor for something like that, so people feel like they're heard. A lot of time, officers feel like they're not being heard from the people through the chain of command, or the captains, people at top. So we're trying to allow more of better line of communication. But at the same time, just because you're providing feedback or you're making a statement doesn't mean it's always going to be true. Doesn't mean it's always going to be what exactly is going on. There's always two sides to the story, and we ask people just to be patient with that.
I'm not sure if two-sided anonymous conversations is good either.
No, I don't think that will be good.
The only way this works is if there's a follow-up AMA where the person can then clarify after having been told we need a little more info.
So here's what I can say is I could just leave that document up. If the person wants to follow up with more details, we can also address it that way. So it can continue to remain anonymous, and if further issues were to come up that somebody wanted to use a specific situation as an example, that document will be there. Anyone else up here has anything to address on this this matter? Specific matter?
I'll just make a note real quick and state that if anybody ever does have concerns and needs to bring it to a senior, especially in shift 3, I don't want anyone to feel like that they're gonna get like kicked down for that. I am here. Barrick is here. In shift 3, if you have a problem, I don't care if it's at a shift. If you have a problem and you need to bring it to a senior and we are around, I have no problem listening to you. If it needs to be brought up, I have no problem bringing it up, and I have no problem giving you an answer, hopefully within 24 to 48 hours.
That goes for just Watson is also a senior as well. So.
And Watson, I'm sorry. Yes.
All right, next question.
We have no further anonymous questions or even questions in general besides adding UTC time to meeting times, which we heeded that and added that to the announcement. So that opens the floor to anyone here. Any questions? Anything that needs to be brought up? We're up here. Hit us with it.
Abu?
Hey, can I give like a 2-minute speech if possible?
Well, let's.
Are you asking a question or are you giving a speech?
No, it's a speech.
Are you asking? Do you have the capacity to give a 2-minute speech?
I work on
if
speech
you are
for 2
capable of it.
minutes. I prepare a speech. If I can take 2 minutes, I can doing it. You know.
I'm at the end. How about I'm at the end?
I'm good at the end. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. At the end. Yeah. Sure.
I just realized he kind of looks like, y'all remember Saul Eastman? He looks like Saul Eastman in his prime.
Well, Abu's
Thank you very
65
much.
years
Saul
old.
Eastman
I don't know if
aging
that's
like fine
prime.
wine.
Abu's 65. How is that prime?
Well, that just means it's Saul struggling.
All right. Let's bring it back in. Bell, you had a question?
It might be kind of like a bit of a longer question, but for everyone up there, what is something that you see within your shift that you dislike that you wish you could change, and what is like, how could we help change that?
If shift 3 is not
Like
burnout,
way officers do something.
For shift 3, I think shift 3 is the one that I'm obviously in the most, and I could give my opinion on. I think that shift 3 operates pretty damn well. I believe department-wide numbers is a problem. I think that would alleviate a lot of issues. It wouldn't fix everything, but it would alleviate a lot of issues.
Sky, can you drop me, please?
So our bottleneck right now is training.
Thank you.
So training is something we need to focus on, and that's getting more FTOs out there. That's making sure that current FTOs aren't getting burnt out, which is, hard. I'll put it frankly. That's hard because that's on each FTO. That's on each individual person. So we definitely recommend people take their breaks. Don't push yourself, because a FTO who is forcing themselves beyond what they're comfortable with will not always produce the best officer as well. But currently, I'd say numbers is our my opinion, the biggest issue right now, or a large issue.
For 2, mine would be prioritization. Prioritizing, right? I find myself into micromanaging a lot, and not that that's a problem. I'm a senior; that's what I'm supposed to do. But a lot of the times, I'll be looking at the general where people are in Los Santos and being like, okay, we just got a 911 about an anonymous 911 being like, yo, dog, someone ate my dog and stabbed my buddy. And then I'll hear over the radio, hey, responding to just a suspicious activity call. And I'm like, brother, chances are that someone yoinking a HVAC unit out the roof, and not that that doesn't deserve a response, but someone is potentially losing their life alongside their animal. Now, I understand that there's crimes out there people want to respond to, but we are here to serve and protect. I don't give a fuck about a HVAC unit when there's someone out there losing their life. And I think a lot of people forget that. A lot of people ignore the 911s over the shiny dispatch that pops up. And I find myself a lot of the time having to reel people in when it comes to prioritizing crime.
Agreed.
Mine for shift 2 would just be staying
focused on what we're supposed to be doing, which is kind of like McNulty's answer, but it's a little different. I feel like we bunch up at MRPD, or we get a little lazy with certain things. Or another thing I see is sometimes we are a little soft when it comes to things, which I would like to improve on, but that will come.
I think a big one that I noticed is a lot of folk now not going to 77s, not backing officers up, trying to get people to go to it.
What the fuck?
I'm sure it's something the larger every shift probably has that problem, especially due to the numbers. And what turners are definitely a thing in shift 1 as well. We need
not
more
have
numbers.
happened.
Goes without saying. So.
My perspective on things, definitely more numbers, more delegation, more promotions of people in command to allow the full chain of command to be fully active in a way to where people in power roles can able to go out there and get things done without the bottleneck of talking to a captain.
I think the kind of voice on shift 3, I'm with Turner on this. I do think that the lack of units is definitely something that we are working on, and I would even argue it's gotten a lot better recently, and we are working to continue to make it better. It's not perfect, and I think that we need to just strive for the continuance rather than working on getting it done tomorrow, right? We're working on getting it done at the pace that we can.
All right. Any follow-up questions on that?
No. I appreciate you guys for the answers. Thank you.
And feel free to ask any tough questions. I know in a larger setting it's harder to ask personal questions or things maybe like more, small group settings. But go ahead, Alexis.
What is the most common mistake that officers make, and how to avoid or resolve it?
I have the easiest answer for me if I could harp on this one.
Oh yes, I do too as well. Go ahead.
Ask for second opinions on things. I see that a lot. Go to other people. It could be another officer. It can be the same rank as you. Just get second opinions on things and seek others for advice.
Coffee. I'll be back.
The best thing.
I can still hear everything though.
Mine would be I'm going to say communication, which is obviously breakdowns all across the city, but I mean communication over the radio. I know that sometimes you can get flustered in a scene, like if there's a pursuit or a foot pursuit, and you are unsure of what to describe what you're seeing down the radio. I would rather you say anything at all down the radio. Anything that you see, just be like, even if it's like, you don't know what the kind of car it is that you're chasing, like last known direction, any kind of description. It has 4 wheels and a sunroof. Any kind of description, don't be afraid to say it down the radio, because that gives information on officers to work with and run with rather than dead air. Dead air during pursuits, any kind of pursuit, annoys the shit out of me. So I would just say communication over radio. That's my biggest pet peeve.
For me, it goes with radio, but it's listening. I believe listening is a skill. It's an art that you have to give somebody your full undivided attention all the time to fully understand what's going on, to hear them. How many times have we dealt with folks saying, oh, what the fuck? You guys just shut up now? How come nobody responds now on calls? I don't trust the police anymore. And those folks who are talking to, yes, they might be saying some nasty things and are yelling at you, but they're asking for help. They need your help. And, they might be frustrated, but you got to listen to the problem, what's going on. And I'm still learning as well. I'm guilty of that sometimes, but I think listening is number one.
I definitely think communication. I mean, it's been iterated up here multiple times, so I'm not going to go into it, but communication is extremely important. Something that needs to happen both ways, listening and being able to effectively communicate to people. Whether it be fellow officers, whether it be to suspects in custody, whether it be civilian population, whatever the case may be, it's communication.
I'm gonna piggyback a little bit on that. I feel like a lot of the times when, let's say, Bones and I have I have a problem with Bones in general. His attitude, demeanor, opinion, his hair color, his glasses, his weird body, and the fact he plays League, right? All of that. All of that shit, I'm like, I have a huge problem with Bones. If I have a problem with Bones, I assume that him and I are adults. I can assume that. I assume that he at least has a brain, and that him and I can sit down and debatable. That him and I can sit down and have a conversation. If
What happened?
Okay. Sorry. If I have a problem with an officer, let it be professional or outside of that. For the love of God, sit down with that person and have a direct conversation. I know confrontation is scary for a lot of people. They don't want to be that person that kicks up potential dust towards somebody. But if you, let's say, go behind that person's back and start yapping away to your opinion to somebody else instead of actually addressing the problem, that creates more problems. Because if I think Bones has a problem with me and I hear he's going around yapping away about me, that makes my problem worse. So, if you have a problem with me or anybody else, your fellow officers, for the love of God, be an adult. And that shouldn't be asking a lot. That should not be asking a lot. But I feel like a lot of times it is. So if you have a problem with anybody, have a fucking conversation. Have a conversation with someone and don't swear as much as I do.
I will.
It is that easy. It is that easy. It is that easy.
I will second on McNulty's because that would be my answer for this. If you come to me and tell me that you have an issue with an officer, my very first question I will always ask, without fail, and I'm going to say it now and everybody will know it, is did you attempt or did you talk to that person? If the answer is no, then I'm going to ask you to go and speak to that person. And if you cannot come to the agreement, at that point, you can then come to me or to a senior. Before that happens, though, I ask simply that people have a conversation with each other.
I mean, sometimes it's not easy to have that conversation too as well, where you know, you feel like you might have a hard time approaching that person. But the best way to de-escalate things is to have a conversation with each other, to have that dialogue.
Oh, and if you want a mediator, ask for one. I know, like I'll say, people aren't great with confrontations sometimes. Just ask for a mediator. You know, sometimes people need that.
Absolutely. All right. Any follow-up questions on that one?
No, but I have another. I'll wait.
All right.
I mean, go ahead. I don't think anybody's asking any questions right now, so go ahead.
If no one else is asking, then I'll ask.
Go right ahead.
Can you recall a negative situation that made you go off duty?
Oh, McNulty should answer that one.
That strangely they asked that because it happened today. A very large scene on Broge and Cougar. Not Cougar, sorry, Broge and Covenant. Cougar's down up north in Winewood. Where shots fired, lots of blood, lots of people scrambling. It becomes a little hectic, but we did what we could. Found an individual with a PD firearm, GSR positive, arrested, medical, got everything I needed, brought him down to interrogation. Got a lawyer. The gun was molten hot. He consented to a raid. Went through all the properties, nada. This guy was willing to work with me. Very much willing to work with me.
A Pop-Tart.
Oh, I'm annoyed just thinking about it. Right up until the last minute. Lots of edging going on here. Lots of edging. To the last minute. Just about to give me fucking the Eden's apple. Lawyer is like, give me a moment. Not the lawyer, sorry. One of the legal aides is like, give me a moment.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think they call it gooning now.
Gooning. No, gooning's what they do. No, that's borging. I'm thinking of borging. What's gooning?
It's like edging, but cool, like for the
Isn't
kids.
isn't Goonie one of the
Edging for kids? So yeah.
I'm not sure either one of those are.
What
Can
did
you
you just say?
Excuse
can
me,
you
sir.
use layman's terms?
Ask that man.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna ignore that and go back to what I was saying.
No flavor.
You were at the legal aid. You were at the
Yes, legal aid. Yes, legal aid.
Yeah.
It's like, give me a moment, okay? I step out and I kid you not, 1 minute passes by, comes back in, the guy shuts down and says, "We're done talking." He's like, "I'm not guilty. Send me away." And I am shocked. I'm just about to smooth my way into what could be a massive investigation, and just shuts me down. And I talked to this guy, and he's like, "You know it in the heart of the cards, inside your heart. You know where I got that gun." And I was like, "No, I don't." So I was flummoxed, and I had put about 3 hours of my time that I'm never getting back, all because of a small minute conversation. So I went 42. I was like, "No, I'm in a bad mood," and to me there's nothing worse than someone dragging their feet around while on duty, because it's just, you don't want to be here. You're in a bad mood. Go 42. I think people don't do enough of that. But I found out later on, they acted under that assumption because they thought I had DNA on the firearm, and they thought I was fishing for more. But I had nada.
Cletus, you're on the phone often. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. I have one. Do y'all think this is the most effective way to have this conversation? Well, actually, before I ask that question, can we go back? Am I not going to be reprimanded for asking a question in this meeting?
Well, the title of the meeting is Ask Anything.
Oh shit!
So, ask anything.
I was gonna suggest that if there are folk that aren't comfortable saying everything in a big group environment, then maybe after everybody leaves, you come back in and maybe say one with a few of us, or one with all of us. I don't care. But I understand that might be daunting to come and ask questions up here. So, I mean, I'll stick around a little bit later and talk to people individually if they want.
Sam here. If y'all need to have a conversation afterwards, that way we can get the bigger setting questions out the way.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Cletus. What's your question?
So do y'all think this is the most appropriate way to approach the situation, where you have all the seniors and the captains standing up on the table, or excuse me, on the podium there, and asking us to ask any question we want, starting with an anonymous question, which is a pretty, in my opinion, pretty serious situation, considering Shift One's alleged morale issue. That has been brought up by several people, myself included. I'll put my name on that shit. And do you think that you're going to get the most out of people right here? Because I think, well, actually, I'm going to stop there. Do you think
it's a good way to get the conversation started?
Correct.
Okay.
I think it's a good way. We gave a avenue to ask anonymous questions that they want to address. We're also allowing anything to be opened up here, and we're also giving the opportunity afterwards, if it's intended to be privately, maybe this, give someone the idea to bring something up or wait to bring it up. We're trying to open up every avenue.
Yeah,
to communicate.
Just stop in the right direction, because a lot of folks say, well, I always go through the chain of command and I hear nothing. I didn't get a chance to even talk to anybody, or my feedback's not brought up. And we're giving you the opportunity right now to speak your mind. I know that some folks might be a bit hesitant because they're worried about punishment or how they're being viewed when they ask these questions, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to learn. We need to have a growth mindset, and we need to understand that feedback is important, and listening to an officer could help us understand things better.
Cornwood, do you remember what I said during that whatever it was, large group conversation up in the stairwell? When it comes to me and you having a conversation, we have our opinions, and let's say you disagree with that opinion and you go and say that to somebody else, you will.
Yeah, but I don't do that.
I know. No, I'm not. I'm using that as an example. I'm just using that as an example to take away from that, right? You will take what I'm saying and paraphrase it into your own words, and shit will get lost all the time.
Okay.
If you run through a bunch of people, words are going to get lost.
Yeah. No,
So
I agree with that.
I like this idea because everybody here is now hearing our opinion. It's not coming from you or any other officer. It's coming straight from us to the crowd.
Right. Game of telephone instead.
Yeah. Yes. I hate the fucking game of telephone. It annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because facts get lost and people change things into their own opinion.
Yep.
So when it comes to this, I like it because it's a group setting. But I also feel in that same regard that sometimes people are intimidated by that as well. That is why I am open to having that conversation as well in private. But I like this setting because everybody's here.
Can I ask what the question was?
I wanted to just really quick piggyback off of that. That's why I also wanted to have time for people to come up and say stuff not in front of a fucking crowd. Because I understand that it could be very daunting. And even in this environment, like that anonymous question, that is a very serious issue. I do agree. And like Turner said, we can now sit here and tell officers if they don't want to say who said that anonymous question, they can go follow up Turner. They can go follow up a Shift 3 senior. And it could start to get resolved then. At least we know the problem.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a good answer, honestly. But I mean, I'm just glad that there's a recognition of the problems that this poses because, I mean, obviously not everybody's going to feel comfortable speaking in front of everybody else because they might have a particular issue, and that's fine too. But I think McNulty, to your point, I think that's
yep.
I think that was I think a damn good answer.
Yeah, and if anybody yourself or cadet and upwards is like, I do have a question, but I'm obviously intimidated because you got 3 captains and 4 seniors up here. That can be very intimidating. Find me, find Bones or a senior in your shift and be like, hey, here's a question. Why does Bones wear those glasses? And I'll be like, I don't know. It's goofy.
Like I said, I'm leaving that document up to you. So if something comes to mind later on down the line, I'll check. We'll be checking it periodically. We'll make sure answers get addressed as well, or questions get addressed as well. Shaft?
Yeah, I guess to the communication things and kind of why this whole AMA thing is happening here. Is there an example of like a problem was brought forward or something like that didn't go well communication wise, and like an example of a good one? So like to see the contradictions.
Oh boy, there's a lot of bad examples we can talk about here, right? And there's plenty of good too. But
talk about the FTO Duncan thing, Bones. That'd be a good example instead of just going straight to the source of the problem.
I guess what are the characteristics and traits of the good ones and versus the bad ones as far as like tendencies of how they were brought up and how they were addressed?
You're probably on the microphone.
Am I?
I don't think
no,
so.
No.
I don't think so.
I did not hear him. Who wants to answer that?
You just go ahead. You answer.
Well, no, because I feel like it's come from you.
I'm sorry. I'm listening to a conversation next to me. Could you clarify the question real quick?
Let me clarify what you want me to talk
Sure. So, what are some examples of like what makes a good conflict resolution or a conflict being brought up versus a bad one?
Sure.
Like a good. Yeah.
I think a good conversation would come from you coming to me with a question or a problem, and I'm able to then take it or even have you there to try and resolve that problem. What we get a lot of the times and what we deal a lot with, and I have told Captain Slacks this multiple times, because people will ask, Captain will ask, how are things going? And the reality is people don't bring up a lot of the good things. A lot of people want to bring up the issues, which is fine. But usually we follow up that question with, okay, what's going on? Where did you hear that? Where did you, what give me an example. And people say, oh, I've heard it. And I've even heard people say the streets be talking. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I have an example or something to work off of, we have something that we can build on. But if you come to me with a concern and the follow-up question is, what happened? What's going on? And there's nothing to back up that claim, it's very difficult for us to try and address certain issues. Usually having that example or having something actually valid to work off of, or even if it was secondhand, something valid to work off of to try and find a solution if there is an actual problem is way easier than being told that you heard it from somebody.
So to follow up on that, what makes it valid and not valid? Is it just firsthand experience, would you say?
I don't think firsthand experience, to my point, if you come to me with something and there's actual context to it, then we can break that example down and talk about it, right? A lot of the times people have big pictures and people will come and say, there's a big problem going on and it involves everybody. Okay, what's the problem? And they'll give a small example. And when you hear the problem, we're able to fix a small problem, usually, right? Someone comes to me with an issue, it's something minor, something small, but they claim it to be something bigger than it really is. Let's talk about that exact issue. What happened? What's going on? Okay, let's break it down. Tell me how it started. How did it end? How did we get to this point? We can resolve that. But if you come to me and say the PD's gone to shit, or hey, everything's gone to hell, it's a lot harder to take a small issue and try and resolve a bigger one when it's really not a bigger issue. If that helps.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Did everybody understand that?
I know I kind of get into paragraphs. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear.
Yeah, I can give another example. In shift 2, I kind of looked at something at face value with an officer and like looked at all a bunch of different things without really confronting that person and asking them about it. I kind of went straight to somebody else, and then that kind of spiraled to they went to somebody else, and it spiraled out of control. But about like a couple days ago, I just made sure because I knew it affected them, so I went to them straight up personally, and kind of picked their brain on what this happened. Told them about like, hey, I was actually one of the people that kind of brought this into Spiral, and I got the actual answer, and now that error is completely cleared and it's way better. So I think just us being able to come to you or you coming to us and then just talk about situations is probably the best.
I think there's a whole other way to explain it. Just a general concept that like when somebody is talking to somebody that isn't their superior, they will rush an explanation, skip important details, and then
I feel like this one's going to be a lot shorter than the previous one.
The game of telephone happens.
If we do see a problem and we bring it up to like a senior or higher or whatever, would you guys rather us just bring the problem up, or would you rather have us like sit on it for a little bit and think about like possible solutions to try to like bring in the conversation so it's not like constant
for PPOs,
quote, bitching?
like for the PPO, I would say bring it to your mentor. Like, or unless it's like a huge thing, if you see if you're having a problem, bring that to your mentor.
I think it's a good place to start. Something I've spoken to some officers recently about in terms of issues they brought up and they didn't see any change. I've recommended if you want to know the outcome of the feedback you're giving, if there's any results, if there's anything coming back from it, ask for it. Hey, Captain Turner, can you let me know what the outcome of XYZ situation is if you come up with one, or if there's a result from it? Let the person know that you want.
Nothing wrong with
feedback.
following up. Yeah, nothing wrong with following up as well too, as far as what's going on for sure. Yeah.
Forward.
How in depth do you want our questions and shit to get here?
Ask anything.
Okay. Can we talk about procedure?
Ask anything.
Sure.
Okay. So how do y'all feel about prosecutional discretion when pressing charges?
You mean selective enforcement?
What do you mean officer discretion?
Same thing. It's the same thing. Officer discretion, prosecutional discretion, it's all the same thing. Selective enforcement, it's all the same.
So to answer your question, and I know you're not gonna like my answer, it's not black and white. It's case by case by case, depending on the circumstances, what's going on. to say every case is identical as far as when you investigate it is not fair, because there's always going to be a lot of variables and different elements involved. I think it comes from a lot of experience in making those judgment calls, and if you're not sure, then go through the chain of command as far as that.
Yeah, no, I don't. As far as saying I'm not gonna like that answer, actually, I don't think it's a bad answer. I think it's a good answer.
Definitely about the totality of the situation and circumstances surrounding it. Right? There's so much that goes into using officer discretion when it comes to pushing charges.
I mean, I'll go ahead, Aldo.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, McNulty.
I will say, and I will say this with no shame whatsoever. I've had people where it's like, this guy has so many charges. I'm a very compassionate man. As much as a hard ass I can be, I'm very much a softie. There are times where I'm like, this guy is getting pounded in every hole he has. I personally, this is just a little charge. I'm just gonna drop this shit. 100% he's done it. I'm just gonna drop it. Just from the sense of like, he doesn't deserve this. He's been compliant. He's been respectful. He's been kind. He doesn't deserve this. In that same regard, I have had people treat me like absolute garbage. Like I am a trash person that is destroying their day, but I will still treat them with the same respect and compassion. Or I will ruin their day.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're a better man than me. I will.
Yeah. There are days where I'm just like, you know what? I am going to push every charge I come across.
You speaking my language?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got some petty days.
Yeah, I have petty days. I have petty days. I have very compassionate days. But then it's just like, I'm gonna give this person every traffic light, every littering citation, every ticket I possibly can, just because they're pissing me off.
Go ahead, Rhodes. You have a question or you have an answer?
No, I got a couple questions. So first
hold on,
one.
before you ask your question, sorry, I do apologize.
No, you're good.
Cleese, did that answer most of your question, or most of you looking for? Or do you want more answers from the people up top?
I have another thing just to add on to Cletus. I think it comes to like another thing with that is, if you just get a second opinion, just hear somebody else's opinion on it and see what they think. It doesn't hurt at all.
I think it answers part of it. I just want people to feel comfortable as far as knowing that they can choose not to push a charge. I think McNulty did a good job of explaining that. But yeah, because I see a lot of shit myself, especially whenever I was lawyering for a week there, where people will try and push some shit and it's like that does not apply, or that this doesn't work out in this situation. And a lot of the things that we talk about here when we're talking about making sure we don't lose the city and making sure that we're treating people right, people first, all that shit, that's the kind of stuff that gets around, right? When we're not if we give somebody a assault with a deadly charge for stabbing a local. I heard something like that happen not too long ago, which to me is a major failure on our front. That should never happen. They stabbed a local because they were getting attacked as well. They were self-defense. So just some shit like that. Don't look at everything like, oh, these are the charges I have to charge them on. That's basically what I was looking for. So I just appreciate you saying that.
I think something very important to keep in mind too, and I'm sure you all know, statute of limitation 30 days. Now, it shouldn't be your default when you're not certain on charges, right? You shouldn't be pushing a charge first of all if you're not certain on the charge. If you don't feel you have grounds to push a charge, don't push it. In fact, I implore you not to push it. If you're not confident in your charges, if you're not willing to get up in the court of law and justify why somebody's getting a charge, and you have your PC, right? You have your PC ready to present. If it's not strong enough, don't push a charge. Don't push any charge in that situation. If you have to further investigate it, and you can come back to it, right? I just want to make sure that's not going to get out of hand though, and people start pushing things to the side as well. But it's definitely something you can exercise.
Good answer.
And I think kind of you did say this as well, but I think it is something to keep in mind. It is important. Like, I could use an example. I had a fella first few days in the city. He bumped into my car. I pulled him over. His car kind of matched the description of a car that just got away. Other units came, wanted to verify if it was the same car. He takes off because he's scared. About a minute into the chase, he surrenders, right? I could have hit him with reckless evading, could have hit him with a few extra charges. I dropped it all down to evading, dropped misuse of a rental entirely, and I spoke to him about the laws. I spoke to him about everything. He was brand new to the city. Spoke to him about all the laws, spoke to him about how he can approach police, etc., and let him serve the time in the cell. We can work with folk. We should be working with folk.
Going what? Is this about the same question?
No, actually, let Rhodes go because Rhodes had a question.
Bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
Go for Rhodes.
So, if the mayor tells us to do something, do we have to per legislation? Is he our direct superior?
Yeah, if he uses executive order, absolutely, he's absolute. He's our bosses right now.
So if you as a captain tell me to do something and the mayor directly states to do something else, what do we do?
You listen to the mayor.
Okay.
Until a commissioner is appointed.
I would say, depending what it is, at least let us know that we're being overwritten as well, right? Because if we're expecting you to do something, right, we expect you to do that, whatever that case may be, right? Just let us know that the mayor said, hey, we're going to do it this way. So we're not expecting it to be done, whatever the situation may be.
To clarify that, Rhodes, can you give an example in what regard? Like if he asks you to drop charges on someone? Or
I don't know. If I'm on a scene and Slacks is telling me to arrest somebody and the mayor is saying don't, who do I listen to?
If there's probable cause, I would go with it, obviously. As long as you're operating within the bounds of law, nobody can stop you.
That is pretty much what I was going to say. That's like Rhodes. It's like officer discretion, right? But if I watch someone get stabbed, I'm arresting them whether I'm told or not to.
Correct. But my issue sort of stems from if I'm lacking that information, right? If I hear a captain tell me, a captain who deals with, the general concept of PC and whatnot on a daily basis, captain tells me to arrest somebody. I'm not going to second guess that. I'm going to arrest somebody and I'm going to have a conversation with the captain who told me to do that, who can properly justify it. But how do I do that with somebody who has not necessarily been in the police department and may not know the inner workings of how all of that goes?
Well, I mean, my take on that is much like if someone on scene is like, that guy stabbed me, arrest him. Just because the mayor is basically telling you to do that, you do your due diligence as an officer of the law and investigate it. But that's kind of the way I see it.
I doubt something like that would happen. He did say shoot today, that suspect, and we all shot. But just to detect the first lady. But
I mean, she deserved it. I mean, that bitch was crazy.
She was gonna get shot anyways.
Siobhan deserved it. What the hell?
No.
Got shot.
Hold
Can we get
on,
context on this?
Right. I want to make it clear.
Are you
I
talking
did say
Siobhan
that
or
bitch
me?
deserved it. I did not
Bell
mean.
got hit as well. Bell, I'm glad you're okay too.
Yeah, I did not mean Siobhan was crazy when I said
My take on that is, didn't the PD shoot someone who stabbed someone?
No, we're gonna shoot anyways. But he was also telling us to shoot too as well. Tell him we're gonna definitely just deploy deadly force. But
shoot anyways. I like that.
No,
I think Tennessee v. Garner told you to shoot.
Going back to what you were saying there, Rhodes, if you're ordered by the mayor to arrest someone, I believe you need to still conduct an investigation. As law enforcement, we still need to ensure that a crime has taken place and probable cause is present for it, not just to blindly make an arrest, right?
Right, because I got in your face in court if that's the case, right?
I think another, I guess maybe, and if anyone has any disagreements on this, let me know. In a circumstance where the mayor says arrest somebody, and maybe you don't have the full context, but possibly something happened. I mean, I don't think it hurts to ask the mayor after the fact, even if it's to hold them for a minute and pull the mayor aside. Hey, what is your probable cause? Do you have something? Still conduct an investigation. But if he has something to provide, great. If he has nothing to provide, I feel like that should hold weight.
I should maybe rephrase the arrest portion. Maybe instead of arrest, maybe we utilize a situation in which he does say shoot somebody, right? Because he's saying it in the capacity as a superior, though technically not within her chain of command, which is a little iffy. But right, that sort of prompts like an immediate response, right? He's telling me to shoot somebody. He's essentially saying there is enough justification to shoot somebody. Do we shoot them?
You are responsible for every bullet coming out of your gun.
Well, Rhodes,
you need to be able to look at a situation. You need to be able to look at a situation and